and welcome to Party Select, where two dudes and a guy who's their friend talk about the best thing there is, video games. My name is Shay. I will be your host today. I'm joined as always by Kyle. Hello, Kyle.
Hello, I'm down here.
And Cody. Hey, Cody.
I got a little piranha plant.
Oh, I didn't bring mine's in the living room.
You guys are rocking the Switch 2 stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like vaguely jealous, but also I don't know that I care that much.
There's nothing.
I haven't heard much talk about the Switch 2.
Gee, I wonder why.
We'll go in depth on the next.
Yeah, we'll talk about that on the next flagship.
We're not here to talk about the Switch 2. It is interesting though. We are here to talk about lots of video games though. We're bringing a maybe not very special, but like a special-ish edition of Party Select. This is post Summer Game Fest. We have all watched the big shows. We're throwing the Sony State of Play into it, even though technically it's not part of Summer Game Fest, I don't believe. A bunch of other shows. And there are like tons of games that we wanted to talk about, way more than we could try to jam into a single episode, which won't even come out for another couple of weeks. So we wanted to do sort of a dedicated, let's recap Summer Game Fest, give some overall impressions of the different shows, and then we each brought a list of 10-ish games, probably some similar games between us, on just like things that we're super hyped for. So what do you guys think, man? What's the state of video games? What's the state of play? Would have been a better transition.
Sure. AAA's fucked, but indies got our back. It's just a bummer.
But at the same time, like when AAAs were the thing, indies were very special.
Yep.
And now that indies are the thing, they don't feel as special.
Right.
And like I'm pining for the AAAs.
Uh-huh.
That's brutal, dude. I hadn't really thought about it that way, but I totally agree with you. Because I've been trying to figure out why I'm not as excited about a lot of the indie games when I used to be.
There's so many.
And I think you're right. It's because there are so many now, which is like a good problem to have. I shouldn't be,
sure.
I'm not trying to like complain about that, but you're right. It was like the indie stuff was a nice counterpoint to the big AAA stuff.
Right.
And like when there were disappointing AAA games, you could fill the gaps with lots of good indies. Now it's like most AAA games aren't our cup of tea.
Right.
And there are way fewer of them generally. There are way more indie games, but they don't feel as like it's hard to get as excited about them.
Which leads to sort of my general vibes of all the showcases in this past week of I never really felt like, I didn't have that like, oh my God, mind blow moment, but I have a pretty good list.
Yeah.
Of like things I'm tracking from it, which is weird. Like I'm not like over the moon excited for anything on this list, but I have a pretty long list of things like I'm at least interested in.
Yeah. Yeah, there was like one game announced in the entire weekend that made me like, oh, awesome. And that game is a sequel to a game that I didn't even love and also probably isn't coming out for another 4 years anyway. So like that immediately kind of settled that excitement. But it at least was like interesting and unique and had a very specific style that jumped out compared to what most of the showcases were, which were a lot of dark fantasy Souls-likes.
Yeah.
And a bunch of body horror games, which plenty of people love. I'm not trying to knock, but it's just not my vibe at all. And live service
isometric
Eastern
roguelites.
Studio schlock. Isometric roguelikes also.
Yes.
Just like the word salad of video game. A dark fantasy roguelike from an isometric perspective.
Yep.
Based in Japan in the far-flung future where robots are now samurai wizards. Also, there are zombies. Coming 2029 from Capcom. Bloodsport.
Oy.
More specifically, I think like we can take it semi-chronologically, starting with the state of play. I think like honestly what you both are saying wraps up my opinion on the state of play in a general sense. I feel like the reaction to the state of play was overly negative for what they showed. And I think that's a symptom, a couple of things. One, Sony hasn't announced a whole lot of new stuff.
Right.
Their slate this year is very thin outside of Ghost of Yote.
Paper thin.
And people also have a like misaligned expectation of a Sony press conference
because
when
of
Sony
the
has
time
like
of
tried,
year especially.
yeah, that's true. Time of year is certainly part of it, but I
Yeah.
feel like Sony's tried to delineate between a state of play, which is usually like we're going to highlight some of our third-party partners, we're going to showcase some of our indie studios, and a like showcase, which is we've got first-party shit to show.
Yeah.
Those are our big announcements, things like that. And especially like with the state of play is their pattern that they've gotten into is like they announce it like the day before. So it's like you would think it'd be hard for people to get overly excited. And yet when I go watch the stream, the chat is just like, where's Wolverine? Why aren't you guys announcing Wolverine? I'm like, because that's not what this is or what it was ever going to be. I do get that though. Because they announced Wolverine like 3 years ago and we've heard nothing. So I get that frustration.
I wonder if they like really reworked stuff with that after the leak came out.
Could be. And the Venom game and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But I guess long way of saying I certainly wasn't blown away by the state of play, but I also didn't think it was terrible. Like there were games in there that look cool.
I thought it was really good.
Yeah. Well, especially for for a state of play, right? Thinking third party. Like I went in with exact expectations of what it ended up being.
Right.
And so I was not disappointed or caught off guard at all. I was actually surprised they even showed anything about Ghost of Yotei, saying like, "Hey, we'll show some more."
It was a little bit
this
of
summer.
Right.
But that they probably just did that because the time of year and the number
they
of
want to
people that
remind
would
people.
be watching. Yeah.
They've got nothing else.
Totally. I think, yeah, it was a really, really strong slate of games, a lot of very different kinds of games. And like I have four video games on this list from that conference that I'm like, hell yeah. Those look really interesting. One of them I don't know if is a real video game, but maybe we can talk about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought State of Play was great.
Yeah.
For Summer Game Fest itself, I miss E3 so much. I mention this every time we talk about Summer Game Fest. I miss the rawness of E3, the structure of E3, the cringe of E3, and it's just not the same in a digital format like this. And all of that to say, like, I'm kind of getting fed up with Jeff Keighley a little bit. I'm kind of getting sick of this thing.
Do you think it's because
it feels
he's everywhere?
It feels not. It's more so just like, this isn't what I want from an E3 replacement, and the Game Awards is not what I want from a Game Awards show. Like, they feel so commercialized in a way that just like rubs me really the wrong way. And it's easy for Sony and Xbox to like do a showcase of their own shit, their partners. And it's very clear Summer Game Fest exists because people pay to run ads and trailers during Summer Game Fest. The problem, even more so than the Game Awards, is that during Summer Game Fest, there's not a clear delineation between, all right, this is like an ad versus this is a new trailer for a new game. And so when those two things kind of run together, the whole thing feels a little schlocky. So I don't know. I also felt like the Summer Game Fest had some pretty good hits in the beginning of the show and then really fell off in the back half. And then that show was 2 fucking hours long, right?
Right.
Or not quite, maybe an hour and a half. It felt long because it was front loaded.
Yeah. And then like they had a bunch of pointless marketing tease stuff with Resident Evil sprinkled throughout that was just a time waster.
Oh yeah.
Then the reveal at the end. They could have just fucking revealed it at the end. Like, you didn't have to waste our
were they
time.
just trying to be cheeky?
They were trying to do a thing. You know, not everyone can beat Kojima. So, and not everyone should try to be Kojima. Let's be real.
Speaking about
there's
that,
only room
literally
for
not
one.
a single other human.
There was no
not
reason
a single other human should try.
Yeah.
There was no reason for Kojima nor Mads Mikkelsen to be on that stage.
No,
during that
oh my God,
It's such a waste of
I
time.
love Mads Mikkelsen.
Me too.
But like, it's for a single limited time map in a game that came out.
Lashif isn't he's not like he used to be.
Yeah.
He's more wise and dangerous now. It's like, shut up.
Fuck.
Like, okay.
Like, whoever wrote that for you, Mads, slap them over the fucking head. That sucks. It's so
I don't
lame
blame
and boring.
him, right?
No,
like, he's a
of course
great
not.
actor. Seems like a good dude.
He's getting paid
and
to be
clearly
there.
he does. He loves that character. I feel like
Yeah.
that part is definitely genuine. But yeah, it was a time waster for sure.
Yeah. So could have been tighter. I thought Lucy James did really well as the co-host. I've been historically very annoyed with Jeff Keighley's co-hosts in the past. I thought Lucy did a great job, although I am biased because I already like Lucy James.
Yeah, she was chill.
Yeah.
I mean, she didn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, and that's
it's not her
perfect.
fault, right?
And that is perfect. That's all we
you're
need.
right. You're not wrong.
She understood the
I have an
fucking
example
assignment.
later on of hosts maybe doing too much.
Yes. Yeah, fuck. Right. Shit. That fucking hat, dude. The hat and the bat on a big fat rat. Piece of shit. Anyways. Yeah, so Summer Game Fest general vibes. I have a big list of games, but you're right, a lot of it is front loaded. So there was definitely a stretch there where I was like kind of leaning back in my chair like fuck. Get it over with. Ready for it to be done. And it's because like there's that ad block in the middle too, like all the Hoyoverse bullshit, like and all those lookalikes, all the gotcha anime titty games. Like it takes money to put on a show. It's unfortunate that that's where the fucking money comes from.
That's the problem, though.
It's big titty anime gotcha games and then Saudi princes. Those are like the two sources of funding for video games now, and it fucking feels bad over here, dude. It feels bad,
real bad. Yeah, that's kind of his go-to line all the time is like he offers free slots for things like Game Awards to like indies that he thinks are really cool.
And that's incredible.
Great for him to he clearly loves video games. I'm not going to pretend that he doesn't or say that he doesn't. But the idea that we can only do this huge show on a stage with heavy production because we have these paid ad slots. My response to that is like, okay, then don't do the huge stage and the tons of production. Like that doesn't add value.
It doesn't add value to us. It adds value to the people who are going. But
that's not the audience.
We are then subsidizing their good time with our
dude. There's like a couple thousand people there. Like there are millions of people watching this, and they're just streaming it. Yeah. It's not like that's the whole E3 thing, right? E3 historically was about the vendors and the buyers at Walmart coming and seeing the new cool things. As it got more oriented towards the gamers, it became less necessary to do all that kind of shit. It wasn't about stakeholders anymore. It was about the purchase, like the buyers, us, the consumers. And this is exclusively for consumers. Like no like purchaser at Best Buy is watching Summer Game Fest trying to plan out how many copies of fucking Outer Worlds 2 they need to order. Like that's just not how the business works anymore.
Yeah.
So we don't need you to stand on a stage. Do it like record it digitally, rent a small space with a white screen behind you and host it that way. Like it doesn't need to be this produced. That part of it feels like ego to me. It feels like Jeff Keighley ego, that it needs to be a big stage show. Fucking even Microsoft isn't doing that. Like they had their 3 execs stand on a stage. It's just in a sound stage.
I'll say my only point contrary to what you're saying is Summer Games Fest and Game Awards are the only 2 live things that we have around video games now.
Yeah.
Like they're the last bastion of that sort of vibe of E3 that we have.
You're right.
And there's a part of that I still do like.
Yeah. So you know what?
It makes it feel
that perspective
special.
is useful to be reminded of because like, you know what? For as much as we just complained, I would still rather have it and watch some anime titties than not have it.
I don't know. I don't think so. Because like you are totally correct, Cody. And I do love having a live thing with an audience. Like that is very nice. I'm just like, is the cost worth it? Is the cost of having to sit through 20 minutes of bullshit gambling ad video games, is that worth Jeff Keighley standing on a stage? And for me, I don't know that it is. I think there's a way to do both, probably. There's a way to do both. And
in a year where there was exciting announcements around that ad block, that we might feel different.
It might not have been as bad.
But because, the whole show was sort of a buzzkill that definitely didn't
that's
help.
a good point.
Oh, I disagree
point.
that it was a
Yeah.
buzzkill. There was a lot of good stuff in there.
Compared to other years, man.
Yeah, I mean, man,
Yes.
this is a low year.
I
yes,
guess.
for
I
Summer Game
think
Fest.
it's mostly just because like the big publishers didn't bring anything, but it's like the smaller publishers, like the the double A, single A publishers, and then the indie people that were showing up with their games. There's a lot of really cool stuff going on. But yeah, I'd like goes back to what we said in the beginning, where I do miss the polish and the scope of a big AAA video game that's made for me and my tastes. I do miss that. So not having any of that apart from Resident Evil 9 was sad.
Yeah, I do think you're right though, Cody. Like I would be less sensitive towards the ads if there were also a bunch of big hitting games being announced.
Yeah.
Because it would be like, yes, I'll sit through this Hoyoverse ad to see Spider-Man 3, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to sit through this Hoyoverse ad and then cut to like a double A game that I'm never going to hear
2.
from again for 3 years. That's going to be a 6.5 out of 10. Like,
You want to watch an
Makes it a
ad
little
and then
less-
see that fucker for Splitgate 2? That feels bad.
yeah, that was rough. That was rough. Anything else on Summer Game Fest?
No, I think just that, like,
I do feel like
shutting the fuck
we're-
up is free. That's all I'll say about that guy.
I'm sure he will heed your advice.
Yeah.
No, I do feel like, I mean, it's already our penchant to be a little bit more on the critical side, and I don't want to like go too far in that direction, because
Yeah.
you're totally right, Kyle. Like they're, looking at the list, like I've got like 15 games highlighted of games that I'm like very excited about, and then another 20 that I'm like, yeah, I'll keep an eye on this.
Yeah, that's
and
about
that's a
where I
lot
am.
of games. It's just that like even amongst those highlighted games, there's only like 2 or 3 that I'm like, hell yeah.
Right,
about.
right.
But that's
And
not
I'll
exclusive
say-
to Summer Game Fest.
I'll say, I on my list, I have the most games on my list is from Summer Games Fest, but that could also be part of the fact that, it was one of the longer conferences. It was an early conference, and the ones that sort of followed had a lot of repeats of the same games there. But at least just from an emotional feeling standpoint, I felt like almost every other showcase was better or made me feel better than Summer Games Fest did.
Yeah, like for
Of
me,
the 3 big ones, I agree.
yeah, I like the Future Game Show was the biggest one for me, which was a huge surprise. I have so many games from there. I came away from that one like, holy shit. Especially because a lot of them were like smaller games, and they're like, hey, there's a demo on the store right now that you can go play and check these games out.
That's always cool.
Which is the benefit of having, your essentially publishing running through, or your distribution running through Steam, is you get to participate in the Next Fest stuff and get visibility there too.
And there was a couple things that I felt should have been at Summer Games
Yes.
Fest. I felt like when we were watching, we were often like, why wasn't this at SGF?
I was like, this
why
seems
is this here?
crazy awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the slots are expensive if you're not one of the lucky few. If you're not being subsidized. So that's, there were some that were surprises that showed up at Future Game Show, but yeah, I'm
Well,
good
since
to
we're already
move on.
talking about, if we're already talking about Future Game Show, we could chat about that and some of the other, not lesser in a pejorative, but like outside of the big 3 press conferences, whatever the Wholesome Games and PC Game Show, etc. I think, like, I agree. The Future Games Show was very solid, and there were a lot of games there, more so than in previous years, at least to my memory, of games that I was like, oh, cool. Some of them were games that I had seen at other things already, which is kind of to your point, Cody. Like, if it's later, you see that stuff multiple times. The biggest thing was, like, to me, Future Games Show felt the most E3. And look, I know people love Matt Mercer, people love Laura Bailey, people love Critical Role. I'm not saying anything bad about that. What I am saying is, like, these are 2 voice actors that are very good at voice acting, and maybe them doing their voice acting shtick on a stage where we're watching them, it was kind of cringy to me, like the whole time, like everything they said. I was like, ugh,
it's
because it was
big
just like
theater kid
doing
energy.
funny voices, and it was very that stuff plays in an audio format. And
Yeah.
it doesn't quite play in a video format. And it was funny looking at the comments of the people being like, oh, I love Critical Role. It's cool to see them, for one, which is great. And two, oh, they're so funny. They're so awesome. And then someone replying and be like, wait, really? And then them being like, yeah. And admitting like, yeah, I'm 13 or yeah, I'm 9. I saw someone who was like, yeah, I'm 9. And it's cool. Like they're funny. And I'm like, okay, this is making a little more sense. So that was my one caveat about future games show is, despite, hey, I love Laura Bailey too. I think she's an awesome voice actor. But it was I started skipping every time.
Oh, yeah.
If you combined all of their segments and took it out,
It would have knocked like a
probably
half
be
hour off the show.
Yeah, 30 to 40 minutes off of that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this has been your
they made good
Shay
money.
looks at the comments section segment of the podcast. We still don't know why he does this to himself.
It didn't make me angry.
No,
I was
know.
curious.
I know.
I was curious.
I just look. It was an interesting resolution to this time. Usually it's explosive. So I'll take it. Hey, nice job, comments this time. You know what? I can't say that.
You didn't piss me off.
I can't say that whole cloth. I'm sure there was some real stinkers in there. But yeah, future game show super cool. Wholesome Games had a lot of fun little experiences that they're teasing, that they're showing off. There's a leaf blower company simulator game, which I'm like, hell yeah. My big issue with Wholesome Games is, and it's just a personal synesthesia thing, they get a lot of ASMR streamers to do stuff, and like the clicking and the smacking of the wet sounds in their mouths like fucking makes my spine crawl. And it's some people just love that shit, and it's just a synesthesia thing. I can't handle it. It's a weird thing to put in a presentation that a lot of people are coming to who are going to be made very anxious and uncomfortable by that, like I was. It's like that is for, like, if that's your thing, you have ways to seek it out, right? Like, you're not being bombarded with, and I don't think it's kind of like smoking. Like, you don't want people around you smoking. If you are a smoker, people smoking around you doesn't bother you. It's great. It's fine. In fact, it might make you want to smoke a little bit too. If you don't smoke, people smoking around you fucking sucks. So go smoke over there. For everyone's safety.
Have, like, ASMR people have to eat outside? Is that what you're saying?
No, they have their streams in their communities.
Right. It was clearly,
they get a 15-minute
couched in
ASMR breat every 5 hours. They can go outside and lick their lips into a microphone.
Yeah.
I do want to walk this back. I am teasing. I'm joking.
We got another dancing is lame situation over here.
That's precisely why I want to walk it back, because the whole dancing is lame thing on the previous podcast, I feel like probably really pissed some people off. Pissed me off. I was playing it up. I believe I believe a dial to the 4 version of that. I was bringing it dial to 11. So I do think a lot of people look silly. I think classically trained dancers, ballet, all that stuff is crazy impressive. So I just wanted to get ahead of this one and let people know that I was being a little facetious.
I have to read my note, Kyle, because I had the exact same feeling as you.
Okay.
My note is, man, the vibes of this showcase are always so good and calming, but some of the presenters lean in an ASMR direction that I find a bit creepy.
Yeah, creepy is the right word. And it literally it's nails on a chalkboard for me.
I really like that format for those, for the people who like. I mean, it's very on brand for the Wholesome Direct to have these very
I agree.
calm, wholesome content creators
And not
talking.
everybody's ASMR. I liked many of them, but
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
every once in a while it would have they're just talking on my YouTube channel. We like to play games from my youth and also and I'm just like, all right, skip to the next fucking town builder game.
I think that's a really cool idea, though. To I like these kind of games. Here are some people that play these kind of games that I can go out and seek their content.
Yeah, and like it gets them visibility. It like helps them build communities with each other.
It's a good way to do incorporate streamers without it being that annoying.
The
like, oh,
team
streamers
chatter.
reacting.
Yeah. Or like the streamers played this horror game, and they're like, like screaming at the camera or whatever. Yeah. The Wholesome Games Direct, I feel like, finds a nice way of threading that needle, for sure.
I have to say, again, I was reading the comments because I'm always curious.
Oh my god!
And I chuckled at this because I believe it was well intentioned and just like a goof. But someone left a comment on the Wholesome Direct that said, I want to quote it verbatim because I want to make sure I am not making this person seem bad. But they wrote, I don't mean this in a bad way, but do they only hire lesbians? And I really liked the innocence of that question. Because like, what if they're serious? What if that was a thing, right? Like, we're gonna run a showcase where we're like, there were several of these streamers who introduced themselves as like, I'm a queer streamer that does X and Y and Z, and that stuff's great. And so I could see someone who might be ignorant coming to something like this and think that is literally the whole thing. The cozy game thing is just all lesbians. And I choose to believe that this person was innocent in their asking of that question.
Sure. I did like they put their pronouns up by their names while they were speaking. That was nice.
Yep.
Appreciated that.
Yeah.
The other
Wholesome Direct
one that I wanted to chat about was PC Gaming Show. This is like always every year the longest of the stream conferences, and it's the longest in part because they always have the most bits in between, and it's always the least tolerable human beings on earth that host it. It's the one dude who's in it every time. I refuse to commit his name to memory. I refuse to store that information in my brain. But y'all know the one dude. It's him, and he's really the problem because everyone else feeds off of his horrible theater kid energy.
Is he like Mr. PC? Is he like the CEO of PC?
I don't know, and I don't care.
I don't know who you're talking about. I always skip the PC Gaming Show because it's so long and there's rarely anything of interest there.
3 hours. There were 4 games over those 3 hours that I was interested in. That's not a good batting average, but it's because like the PC Gaming Show caters more to like the Dota RTS crowd, like that kind of stuff. It's not really necessarily indies on PC, but they have started incorporating and introducing more like simulator, immersive simulator types of games, and some occasionally like some crafting survival games make their way into there. So that's why I watch it, because I want to keep my eye out for those kinds of games. But it's just like, it is an exercise in pure frustration trying to bypass all their bits. And normally what I do is I wait till after it's done and then I scrub through and just go to the gameplay. Yeah. But I didn't do that this time, and it was a huge mistake. Because I didn't have anything else going on. So it was a huge mistake.
Boredom is the ultimate I'm gonna suffer mentality.
Yeah.
You just gotta be anxious all the time, and then you'll like skip stuff. That's how I did it. I like anxious panic watched the Wholesome Game Show and the Future Games Show today, because I was like, I gotta watch them today because we're talking about them today. And so I was just like, I gotta get through this quick. Which also makes a horrible view.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
I want to know what you thought of the format of the Xbox showcase.
Format. I think, I don't know. I feel like Microsoft has been like this for a while, where I feel like they kind of were the early ones that just turned it into a trailerama. And I always like seeing humans introducing the games and not just be like back to back to back, just trailers. It's difficult now with Microsoft and all of the shit that they have pulled and done. Because like seeing Xbox executives, Sarah Bond and Phil Spencer and the other dude whose name I can't recall. Like every time when they came on, I was like, fuck off.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit of two minds. Like I want to see people there, but I don't want to see those people there.
Yeah.
You know?
And
that would apply to Sony as well. Like I wouldn't have wanted to see fucking Herman Hulst up there talking after the bullshit that he's been doing and just the terrible job he's been doing.
Well,
as a leader there.
Just today, there's one of the PlayStation studios is laying off like 30% of its people or something.
Yeah, man. Everything's great.
Pretty sure it's Bend.
Everything's awesome.
Sony Bend. Yes.
Sony Bend. Great.
Bending them over.
But yeah, I think I liked the structure generally. I did kind of get skeezed whenever they were on there, and I thought we might not see Phil, and then he came on to do like the wrap up at the end. Also, he looks like he's lost some weight.
Yeah, Cody, you said
I don't wish ill health on the man.
That Ozempic.
Yeah,
that killed me.
He looks like he's been struggling a little bit. Maybe I don't want to make assumptions, but he looks like the stress is maybe getting to him.
Yeah.
And also age could just be age. We're all getting old.
I'm getting fatter as I get old, so I'd like to get whatever anxiety Phil's getting.
Well, fair enough, but he's also older than us.
Yeah.
I will say overall, and by a pretty significant order of magnitude, the Xbox show was my favorite show. Like there were way the most games there that I wanted to play.
Xbox is probably my second.
And I think it's because a lot of their games were bigger titles.
It's purely because
and they showed
Clockwork
like deeper
Revolution,
dives on stuff. That's part of it.
They
for
finally
sure.
showed Clockwork Revolution.
Yeah, and I would throw the Obsidian thing they did after the show with the deep dive on Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, sure.
And like it's a little bit different, right? Because that's not technically part of the showcase. But I think the point is like we got longer looks at a couple of games, and the vast majority of these other showcases, we never saw a game for more than 2 minutes at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always hated that. I hate the Trailerama shit. That's a Jeff Keighley special. What do you guys think of Xbox?
It was my second favorite.
It was good. Yeah,
it was good.
It was good.
It was really good.
It was probably my most enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it was refreshing because of sitting through all the bullshit of the other conferences, and just to have it be boom, boom, boom. It was like, oh, thank God, because it was one of the final ones.
That whole like world premiere thing, it does something.
Oh my God,
I like it a lot.
No, you don't.
I like it. It makes it feel like a big thing versus just starting the trailer.
But it isn't. They're lying to you.
Oh, yeah. Totally. But it's exciting.
World premiere exclusive timed event this day only on Xbox.
But
It's
everything's in Xbox, so it's on everything.
I remember when they first did that, like when it was at an E3 or something. And I remember seeing that first year where they put world premiere in front of fucking every trailer. I was like, oh no, it's over, man. This is the end. And thankfully, most other places haven't adopted that.
No.
The Future Game Show did have a good amount of that, of like
there was
exclusive trailer. And I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit. It's exclusive trailer. They're paying you to put it here.
Yeah, like
of course it's exclusive to you.
I'm already here watching, bro. You don't need to sell me harder on it. Just play the thing.
And like world premiere of our first party game. Like, yeah, dude. Fucking duh.
Here's what I'll say. I do like that as a preamble to I know it's something I haven't seen versus a trailer that for a game that maybe has already been announced and I forgot about or whatever. I like knowing at the beginning, okay, I'm going into something I haven't seen before.
But that isn't actually true. They put world premiere in front of trailers for games that have already been announced.
Like what?
The only thing they are saying is it's a world premiere of this trailer.
What game did that?
I don't know specifically, but they put world premiere in front of, I think, almost every single thing they showed.
It was almost everything.
Including stuff that had already been announced.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hate that shit, but it was a good show.
It was still a good show. And I like the pacing.
I always
of it.
got a
Boom,
rant
boom,
about
boom.
a thing, but I did like it. So
How
yeah,
were
so
the
that's
comments on that one, Shay?
I didn't look at the comments on that one. Like that one I watched live. I don't have the live chat open. I'm not a psychopath.
You
Ones that I
just go
watched
look
after
at
the
them
fact.
after.
The YouTube comments. I don't go look at the chat that was happening live because that's literally just racism the whole time.
Yeah.
I go and look at the YouTube comments.
Which is
Totally
only
different
racism
type
half
of
the
person.
time.
Oh, maybe even 45%.
Whoa, Xbox is doing good on the
down.
moderation. I do sometimes
yes,
if I'm
that's-
watching like a big stream like that, I will report the comments that I see in the chat for racism and stuff. I will do that.
Nothing's gonna happen.
I know,
man.
but
if you're doing it for yourself, if it makes you feel good, more power to you.
Yeah, don't worry. This white guy's got it covered.
Hell yeah.
Dude, just like
So this is the
sometimes
press
it's because
conferences.
I don't have any social media platforms anymore. I literally just use Discord. So sometimes I like to dip my toes in and just go, it's a little bit of a fuck you, you POS. Report. Sometimes that feels, it's a little cathartic. Even though they're all bots.
Yeah, I get that.
So
I've been known to report a comment or two every once in a while, but most of the time sometimes I will also reply. I replied to one today and I regretted doing it.
nah, man.
I know. I've gotten way better about it. I want to give myself credit and like verbally acknowledge this was a big problem for me, and I've gotten better about it and not letting it affect me. And like the comments that I bring up here, none of them like pissed me off. Many of them were dumb, but you know what? Live and let live.
Yeah.
Which isn't actually at all how I feel about it, because letting other people live hurts people. So don't let those people live. But
Yeah.
also, what am I going to do? It's YouTube.
I do know.
They don't give a shit.
I know what you mean.
Well, that's the press
what about
conferences.
video games, though? Yeah, press
How about
conferences?
video games? Cody, tell me about a video game that you saw that you're like, yeah, man, that looks good. I'll play that.
Well, I had one that I was going to read out first, but you lost me at that last part because I don't actually know that I'll play it. But boy, was it probably the highlight of the weekend for me.
Okay.
It was in Summer Games Fest. It was Felt That Boxing.
That game looks rad.
It's very rare nowadays that a game's visuals like really surprise me in some way.
Yeah.
And holy shit, that game, the fact that that's all in engine and all modeled and everything.
That's crazy.
It just looked real.
Yeah.
I understand they're puppets, but I mean, it just looked like I was watching a puppeteer.
Like high definition
puppets.
video of real puppets.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Incredible.
It was crazy.
And it looks so funny, too.
If what they showed at the end or like sort of throughout was sort of simulated gameplay, like that again looks crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy if that's what it ends up looking like.
Totally.
I was like, it just sort of looks like a Mike Tyson sort of punch out sort
punch
of game.
out
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Which like that doesn't do a lot for me, but man, I feel like I could push through a game like that with how good that looks.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was probably number one on my list to talk about.
Yeah, it's
That
nice
definitely stood
to
out.
it's nice to know you can still be surprised. Parentheses positive.
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
Yep.
What about you, Kyle?
I mean, easy answers. Resident Evil 9. That looked incredible.
Yeah, that was probably, I would say, probably the biggest announcement at any
Yeah.
of the shows in terms of like number of sales
Sure.
that it's going to get.
I've heard rumblings that this one, and they made some like veiled allusions to, it's a huge leap forward in tech or the way in which we make games. It's like grander scope, whatever. And people are saying that it might be like open world within that
Interesting.
bombed out Raccoon City and maybe some other areas.
That would be pretty different.
That would be very different. And that worries me a little but also they haven't released a bad one in a long time. So
well, and they went to first person, which I know you like less than the third person, but I feel like they've been pretty successful.
No, I like the new
7 and 8.
first person ones more than their new third person ones. I like old
Sorry,
third
I mean
person.
than the old third person ones.
Yeah, I like old third person more, but yeah, for sure. So if it's, it seems like it's still first person, which would be awesome,
right?
Because I was
date.
worried. But yeah, and a date, like one of the few actual dates for anything. So that was huge.
Yeah, that's true too.
What about you?
Not a lot of 2025 stuff. Yeah, the biggest thing that I mentioned at the top that's like a sequel to a game that I didn't even like that much, but it still got me the most hyped is Atomic Heart 2.
Yeah.
And I'll throw the Cube in there, which is sort of their like multiplayer MMO-ish kind of game. Not really totally sure what that is yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, the trailer for Atomic Heart 2 was so insane. And like
trailer.
none of it's gameplay, right? Like none of it's real. It's all pre-rendered stuff.
The first Atomic Heart had a great trailer too.
Yeah, dude. Just the style is like, it's unmatched. I think even Atomic Heart, like this is a huge level up from what Atomic Heart did. And to me, Atomic Heart is like one of the coolest styles of any video game I've ever played.
Yeah.
So many of the character designs and environment designs and just the world and the backstory and all the wacky shit that's in it. It's so fucking unbelievably cool. And this is like way, way better. I do think like this was more so about the Cube, but a little bit in Atomic Heart 2. And we were, the three of us were watching the stream together and we were goofing on the like TNA gooner shit.
Yeah.
And that part of it's super cringy and lame, but it's goofy enough that like I would show my wife, right? Like I showed her the robot babes from the first game just because it's so insane that it's like kind of funny.
And
it's not
fridge.
like a First Descendant. Well, what was the game there? I don't remember the game it was, but they showed one where like you literally just see her tits in like a leather that she like zips up.
It's the new content expansion or whatever for First Descendant that you and I checked out.
It was for
First Descendant.
It was like that literally the example I bring. It was literally First Descendant.
Yeah.
We're like that's the kind of thing where it's like I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for the people that made that, the people that think that's cool, the people that like want to play it because of that. It's embarrassing. Like you are a fucking loser. But Atomic Heart 2, because it's so stupid, I can at least come up with a headcanon that like the people making it know that it's dumb but also fun. So that's like my biggest difficulty with that is the just lame ass shots and stuff. I'm almost 40. It's just embarrassing.
So
but overall, the aesthetic and stuff really did it for me.
Yeah. I walked back some of the comments that I made a little earlier. You did just call a lot of horny people idiots.
No, I called them losers. And I'm not walking that back. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a hot video game character. And that goes for both genders, regardless of your sexual preferences. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a hot character. But like going out of your way to create a trailer showing off boobs hanging out on a CG character model in your video game that has nothing to do with that, that's loser behavior. I'm not walking that back. Whoever came up with that idea is a loser.
All right, you heard it. You heard it, folks.
You heard it. Send me your emails.
Are gonna go wild.
partyselectpod@gmail.com.
Yeah, if you write comments, Shay will read them, apparently.
This is why we don't have a live chat, right? But yeah, what else? What other? I feel like there's like a million things. We didn't have a solid structure. It's more just like what looked cool.
I mean, I've been following Mina the Hollower for a long time, and I finally got a release date, so I'm pretty pumped about that.
There were a couple like classic Resident Evil style games that they showed. Phase Zero was one of them that looks really neat, very like PS1 style graphics. There was another one, is it Echoes of the End, or no, I think it's End of Abyss, where it's like almost a twin stick horror game, kind of Dead Spacey
Little
looking.
Nightmares folk.
Yes, Little Nightmares folks. I thought that looked really
that did
neat
look
too.
really cool.
Yeah,
that bummed me out because it looks very scary, and knowing that it's coming from the Little Nightmares people makes me confident it's going to be very scary.
Yeah.
But it looked really fun.
Totally.
I was like, damn it. I can't play that shit. Did the whatever blooms, something blooms, did that do anything for you?
Fractured Blooms. So
Yeah.
I like the anachronistic nature of the anime lady, and then all the stuff going on really throws me for a loop. I don't know. It makes it.
But it's in first person, right? Like you don't even really see her character. It was just the cutscene. Because to me, that it was like terrifying watching that trailer.
Yeah, that looks really scary. I will probably check that
Silent
one
Hill F also.
Yo, dude,
Silent Hill F,
like aside from Resident Evil, is probably my game of the show.
I was like, I don't even know that I can watch this trailer. It's so
so fucked
that was
up.
me with Ill. Holy shit! That Ill trailer,
kicking the nasty baby at the end. It's fucked up
that
stuff.
Big baby head that comes around the corner.
That's very Resident Evil Village vibes.
Nope.
With that giant baby.
Ill had enough weirdness that it didn't bother me as much.
Sure.
Like it was more like shocking than it was like horrifying compared to like Silent Hill F, which was much more of like a realistic type
Silent
of body
Hill.
horror stuff.
I mean, clearly Ill, like that was. I don't know if any of that. I think it was clearly all in engine. I don't think none of that was actual gameplay. There was no UI or anything. But like they're showing off like blowing off limbs and the reactions to get like hit reactions and stuff. All that looked really, really neat. And it seems like they're building their game in Mundfish's engine, because Mundfish is like
they're
code developing or publishing with them or something. Yeah, like giving them access to their engine and stuff to do it, which is interesting. It's in Unreal, I think, all the Mundfish stuff is, but it's like they have like a architecture within Unreal that they've built, I think, don't quote me on that they're giving these folks access to, like, which
whatever they're doing, they're good at it.
Yeah,
so.
it seems pretty neat.
So let's talk about the 007 first light of it all, in that it was shown at like 3 different places.
And they showed nothing.
We didn't get any gameplay demo.
Yeah.
They promised gameplay coming later this summer.
Yep.
IOI had their own showcase, but it showed up in like 3 other things prior to that. What are we doing?
Yeah, it's a huge fucking waste of everyone's
that?
time. I don't know why IOI even had their own showcase. They showed off some new Hitman stuff, like the Lashif stuff, and then it was an ad slot for Mind's Eye. For audio listeners at home, I held up a PS5 copy of Mind's Eye that I got today that I'm gonna play after we're done recording and find out how bad it is.
I cannot believe that you bought that game, dude.
Why can you not believe that I bought this game?
He's out here doing the hard work.
Yeah,
I can believe that
ground.
you bought that game. I can't believe anyone else would buy that game. That's a better way of saying that.
But yeah, that was such a weird thing.
Cool that it exists. I mean, I hope that game is good, but like, I really wish that we could have gotten more than just a trailer.
Yeah,
I'm excited, like interested in that game by default, because it's like IOI and it's James Bond, and they're doing more of an Uncharted take, because we've talked about what we thought like in the last episode of the podcast when we were doing prediction stuff. We were trying to figure out like what we think their James Bond game is going to be. I like that they're doing a more narrative focused, straightforward style game. I think that's the right choice to make. However, what they showed, like, just it did nothing for me at all. Like, I'm excited by default because of what it is and who's making it, but I was not excited by what they showed.
Huh, okay.
It seemed like fine, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I put it, like, if I had to make a list of 10 games I am most likely to play, that's on that list.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see more. Considering how much, air quotes, they showed it, they didn't show that much of it.
Right. I have like a couple of games that people might have overlooked, like with all the other big stuff going on, like some smaller things that are really neat. Garbage Country was at the PC Gaming Show. It's like a PS1 style-y kind of potato graphics-y game where you drive like a little Jeep and you can like kit it out and customize it and stuff. And it's sort of, I don't know if it's a Strand game or not, but it's like you're carrying cargo from point to point on your like bolting it onto your car and your like cargo racks and stuff. And like you're upgrading your car with parts that you find, and it seems like you get to some spots and then like it becomes a tower defense game, which is really cool. So it just seems like there's some neat stuff going on, and that
car
had
looks like it controls very well. It looks very floaty and fun as it goes
very
over the different
arcadey.
and the camera's sort of zoomed out, so it almost looks like a little RC car.
Yeah, it looks like
around.
big RC car vibes. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And they did have a 2025 label on that one, so hopefully we get to see that this year. So Garbage Country. Oh man, I have such a long list of things. That new Double Fine game, Keeper. I don't want people to sleep on that. This is definitely, to me, this screamed. This was an idea that someone brought out at one of their yearly game jams that they do, and then they turned this into their in-between project, because they tend to do that. In between big projects, they have an incubation project that they work on that's smaller in scope to either train people up or let people who work there kind of like develop fully their ideas and see them through and make full games of them. So this is like seems like a cute one of those.
And that idea was, what if your lighthouse was like vaguely sad?
Yeah, and had to go somewhere.
Right. No, I like it's very much their kind of visual style, where it's sort of painterly, right? But I thought it really fit, and it looks like it looked like a really high fidelity version of that. I could tell they're like leveraging the advancements of the Xbox or whatever.
Right.
I had a couple from the Wholesome Direct. I'll mention quickly because both these had previously been announced, but of everything they showed at Wholesome Direct, I was like, okay, these are the two games that I liked the most, and surprise, surprise, I already knew about them. Is This Seat Taken, which is a Steam Next Fest demo that I played. It's a little puzzle game where you kind of have to organize the characters to sit in the right seat. They all have different preferences on who they want to sit by or not sit by, and I really liked that demo. And then Winter Burrow, which was a game that was announced, I think, a couple of years ago, where you play as a little mouse. In my head canon, he's English. I don't know if he's actually English, but he looks like an old 1800s Englishman who's a mouse living in the winter. And there's some like little cozy building elements and also some narrative stuff, and it just looks like a cute, saddish, wintry time.
Yeah,
a good cozy game to play in the winter.
Gives me Mouse Guard comic vibes. And that one also has a 2025 date.
Not violent.
Well, I don't know. This seems like some bad stuff happens to that mouse.
There was like combat and stuff, but it didn't look like
it's not
gory.
Like
Isn't
no,
Mouse Guard
that's
gory?
Mice. You're thinking of Mice Templar. Come on, Shay,
right,
keep up. Keep up with the anthropomorphic animal related
Mouse Guard
comics.
and Mice Templar. How could I?
There are four great anthropomorphic animal series. Redwall,
starring mice.
Right. Redwall, Watership Down.
That one I don't know.
Oh, Watership Down. Okay. And then comic wise, it's Mice Templar and Mouse Guard. Watership Down's an older. I think there's a movie of it as well.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah. That one is also very sad. A lot of animals die.
Shocker.
In Watership Down.
Everything with mice, man. There's something about mice that I think like makes people sad.
Yeah. Well, they're just so small.
And so all mice stories are sad. Ratatouille.
They're so small.
Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men.
Also very sad. Nothing to do with mice, but also very sad.
Rabbits, mice and rabbits, both.
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah.
Mice, rabbits.
Yeah.
I mean that the rabbit, whatever the rabbit's name, he's a dick.
Yeah. But like Piglet, people love Piglet.
Stuart Little was an orphan.
Oh, Stuart.
Dude, Stuart Little. Peter Rabbit.
Now,
like it's
Rescuers
like mice
Down
and
Under.
rabbits.
Rescuers Down, or the Rescuers, they get shit done.
And Rescuers Down Under, the sequel.
Yeah,
Rescuers Down Under is better, bro.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Rescuers is the series.
Yes, but it's not even that like the story is sad, but like the characters have this like depth of sadness to them.
They are small in
like,
a world that's not made for them, and they're doing their best. They are prey.
The bunny at the beginning of the winter section of The Last of Us 1.
Oh,
I mean, look at that story.
Oh man,
Tragic.
I'll never forget.
Talk about like streamer bait of people reacting. Like I remember watching so many videos of people reacting to that bunny shot and pretending like they gave a shit.
Anyway,
mice and bunnies, dude. That's got to be a thing. There has to be psychology behind that.
What were we here to do?
What were we talking about?
Video games.
You were talking about winter burrows. Little
just to be clear, Kyle, you
overlooked.
started us down this path.
I know.
You started us down this path.
No, I'm fine with that. I'll take it.
I'm not taking the blame for this.
Big hops. No, people don't sleep on big hops. This is a game
that did look really cute.
Yeah, like this is a game you play as a frog, and it seems like it has like Mario Odyssey and Mario Odyssey quality platforming. Like a lot of the systems and stuff, like you're doing a lot of stuff with your tongue to swing around, and like you can do different kinds of jumps like Mario can, like charge jumps and backward leaps and stuff. That looks like a very, very good time. Big hops. People should not sleep on that one. That one's super cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and there were a bunch of really cool horror games. Deepest Fear, Hark the Ghoul.
Yeah, a lot of horror games.
Crizzle Theater of Idols, Ritual Tides, Ludo. Ludo I've had my eye on for a long time. That's that one that's like scary Japanese lady in the bedsheet standing at the end of the hallway, and it's like inside a house. It's very PT coded.
I skipped all of those. As soon as I saw red and black, I skipped it.
Oh, you know what they showed of Dark Pictures, Directive 8020, how you can, every choice you make, you can just warp back to that choice and then make a different decision, and like it shows it to you real time. Like that's a really that seems like it's gonna make that play experience much more satisfying and fun. That's a very good change. Plus I love sci-fi, so sci-fi horror is some of my favorite. Yeah, like
the only
man,
other
I could go and go and go.
Like actual,
but,
the only other indie I wrote down in terms of like things I wanted to call out here. I think it was at Future Game Show and at either Summer Game Fest or Xbox was Hirogami.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that one?
Yeah.
That I think I just really love the idea behind that, where you kind of, you're playing some kind of warrior who can morph using origami to different creatures or like into a ball or a flat piece of paper. And my mind is excited by the different gameplay implications of that kind of capability.
Yeah.
And I also just like the style of that. And it's a good name. Hirogami's a good name.
That is a very good name. They showed mouse. Oh, so important for Fantasy Critic. They showed Mouse PI for Hire. It still says 2025.
Yes.
Also, it looks incredible.
But
still,
no actual date.
Another mouse game. I wonder it's gonna be sad.
Right? He's a fucking He's
I
like
don't
a
think that one's
1950s
gonna be sad.
alcoholic detective. But that's what I'm saying. It's not the story. It's the character.
You're right.
You can tell that dude has seen some shit.
Voiced by Troy Baker.
Wow, he's gonna bring all the emotion.
Yeah. The depth
in
is
Summer
range.
Games Fest, there was a couple. There was a pairing of two-player cooperative.
Oh right.
Games. Out of Words.
Yes.
Which was like claymation. The characters don't have mouths.
Yeah.
Sort of co-op platformer, and then almost like immediately after it, they showed Lego Voyagers, which you and your co-op partner play little 1x1 blocks, and it's just a cute little Lego adventure game similar to that Lego Builder's Journey that released a couple years ago. So yeah, both of those look really good.
Good call out.
Yeah, Builder's Journey I had not heard of. You guys brought that up when we were watching it, and that seems like something I need to check out with my kids.
Yes.
It's like emotional.
It is.
from what I've heard.
Yes.
So maybe not. I don't want to be crying while I'm playing a cute Lego game.
Well, it is very much like a father figure or a parental figure and its child are like going through this experience and like teaching and learning and stuff, and so it might be nice to play with one of your kids or both of them.
I'm a fucking sap these days, man. You don't even know. I cry at everything.
Well, crying's good.
It is good. No, I'm not. It's fine, but it's like I'm not always in the mood for that.
Yeah.
I'll walk downstairs in the middle of my workday to get a snack, and my kids are watching Inside Out, and like it's almost every single fucking time I walk downstairs and they're watching Inside Out, it's at the part where like the imaginary friend and Joy are at the bottom of the thing, and he jumps out of the car so we can make it to the top, and he's like, "Take her to the moon for me," and I'm hearing it from the kitchen, and I'm just like tears in my face just from that. I'm telling you, I can't. Everything sets me off. Any kind of parental thing, any kind of kids growing up thing, it's bad.
I think this was Devolver's only thing, but the Ball X Pit game, that game looks cool. It's like it's a brick breaker RPG that also has a town building element to it. Ball X Pit seems very cool.
Where was this shown?
I have the last thing on Day of the Devs. They had a big segment on it on Day of Devs.
I didn't watch
after
that.
Summer Game Fest. Yeah, Ball X Pit.
Brick breaking, ball fusing, base building, survival roguelite.
Yes.
Throw dark fantasy in there, and you got your word salad.
I think that looks really cool. The roguelite has me sad, but all the rest of it seems very neat. So I might try it anyways, regardless of whatever else. But that was like they did the Devolver like a fake documentary of the guy whose idea the game was as like a kid growing up. He played. It was like a fake story of how he came to come up with the idea for Ball X Pit.
Yeah,
that's fun.
There's a lot. I mean, we could go on for a while.
Yeah.
Here. I still feel like
they showed some more Onimusha gameplay. Way of the Sword, that looks great. Mixtape continues to look fantastic. Infinitesimals seems.
I want a release date for Mixtape, man.
Yeah,
it was shown a lot.
Put it out,
like a lot, and just nothing.
Dosa Divas next year seems neat. Moonlighter 2, The Endless Vault. The Expanse game really surprised me. That looks like
awesome.
Really fucking good. Now I need to go watch Expanse, I guess. Echoes of the End.
Well, and it looks like it's like
Fog,
a
Sleep Awake.
multiplayer PvE thing, right?
Expanse is multiplayer?
The Expanse game? It looked, I mean, the fact that it was like 3 characters going through this thing, they're clearly class-based. That was my assumption, is that it's like a multiplayer PvE thing.
I don't know. Eric's Home is that stealth puzzle game with like 3 playable characters you can switch between that's like very kind of French. Explorator, Constance, Blood Grounds, How to Escape 2.
All right, well, let's not just like list titles. Let's let's talk about the things that we want to talk about.
Nah, we're out of time.
Because I see people like furiously trying to write.
We're at an hour. We're out of time.
That's what I'm saying, man. We're not just going to list names of video games.
Sacrifier, Cairn.
We talked about Clockwork Revolution already. I guess because to me, big shit, a lot of it was at the Xbox showcase. Clockwork Revolution, I loved getting a deep dive on that. I'm way more excited. Like, I was really interested by the idea of that game, but actually seeing it in action, it feels like a BioShock-esque type game, which is obviously totally my jam. Right. I loved everything that it was doing, the humor and stuff. They didn't show that much about the Indiana Jones in they don't need to. Called. It's like Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, the Order of Giants. Is that the name of it?
Circle of Giants,
Circle
I think.
of Giants.
Circle. Is it Great Circle? The Circle of Giants?
I think it
might
be.
That's terrible.
Well, isn't the Great Circle the Circle of Giants?
Yeah, but like when they showed the title card, it was. I was right.
No, it is the Order
Indiana
of
Jones in the
Giants.
Great Circle, the Order of Giants.
Okay.
There's no way it was going to be Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, the Circle of Giants.
But it would be really funny if it was.
That's like the Lord of the Rings, the Battle of the 5 Armies. Like, bro, you don't need to use that many times. I mean, they didn't show that much of it, but I think all of us are pretty unilaterally hyped for it.
Grounded 2 looks great.
What?
Grounded 2 looks great. You get to ride ants now.
I ended up dropping during, like, I watched a couple of minutes of the post show with Grounded 2, and I ran out of time. But yeah, I didn't play the first one, but I know people love it. Outer Worlds 2, I think, is looking really good. Yeah. It's building a lot more confidence in me after having been a little disappointed by Avowed. Hearing the way they're talking about it and showing a lot of the systems in play, it's just like it's making me feel better about it being able to replicate and build on the first Outer Worlds than it feeling like a step backwards. Because Avowed felt like a step backwards in a lot of ways for them.
What is Obsidian doing that's allowing them to put out 3 games in the same year?
That's wild.
I mean, they've always been a multi-game studio because they're huge, but it's
but like multi in
just
development,
timing.
but like 3 to drop in 1 year. I don't know that there's ever been done by any developer before.
It is. I wonder what the strategy is behind doing that, because now, like, after they release these 3 games, we're not going to see anything from them for another couple of years.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. Clearly, it was maybe
Maybe they have a 4th game in development.
If it's ready, we should release it.
And it's Fallout New Vegas 2.
I kind of don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't think so either.
Not while Todd Howard lives. That dude, that little dude has a big ego.
That little dude.
His fucking jackets, man.
Those are good jackets.
I think I was most blown away from the Xbox showcase by Black Ops. 1, that it is Black Ops, and 2,
that was surprising.
The start of that trailer, I was like, I had no idea that it was going to be a Call. When they first revealed that it was Call of Duty, I was a little bit like, oh, it looked like a really cool thing, and like, oh, it's a Call of Duty game. But then I remembered how much I liked Black Ops 6.
Yep.
And the story and the cool shit in that game.
They did stuff.
I was like, oh, actually, no, I would be hyped for this.
It's really weird we're getting 2 Black Ops in a row. This feels...
It is, yeah.
It feels like the universe has folded in on itself.
It's really interesting that they didn't give a date for it.
Yeah.
probably not this year.
No, not this year.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Which is bad for me.
That's bad for you.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
Bad for your fantasy critic team.
Well, don't worry. My Venom game's probably not happening, so...
That's probably a safe assumption.
And probably neither is Judas, so... I might be in trouble.
The only other thing I wanted to call out was from the Sony show, which is the new game from Big Squid, whatever the folks that made Abzu.
Giant Squid?
Sword of the Sea. Giant Squid, thank you. Sword of the Sea, which looks like a combination of Abzu and Journey and The Pathless. Like, it looks like all of their games mixed into one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It looks very, very sick. I'm very excited for that.
Big time.
But yeah, those were my biggest ones. Plenty of other things that I could rattle off for no reason, like Kyle was doing. But
the reason is they're good.
Yeah. Sure. Right. You should do a write-up.
Take us out of here,
Do a write-up on partyselect.com.
If you're just going to poop on my head, take us out of here.
A URL that we don't own. Write a blog about it.
We don't have the URL.
Anything else? Anything we didn't talk about that like really jumped out? No?
There are things, but we can... that's a pretty good list.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff. Yeah. I mean, going back to what we were talking about at the top, overall, I think all 3 of us were a little underwhelmed, maybe to varying degrees, but overall a little underwhelmed by the totality of the show. But at the end of the day, the quantity of games that we're like, yeah, is still good.
Yeah.
It was missing more of the high highs that we have come to expect from something like this.
Yeah. And it's worse like knowing what the games are that are out there that we haven't heard anything about. Knowing that is part of the frustration, because it's like, we know it's there.
Like what?
Like Signs of Life, please. Like the Wolverine game.
Stuff that's already been announced.
Fable. Yeah, all that other stuff. Like,
right.
Perfect.
Well, and Phil Spencer, like, he did make the comment of like next year is 25 years of Xbox. You'll celebrate that with Fable, Forza, and this last game, which ended up being Call of Duty.
Right.
So yeah, I think, who knows if Fable will actually come out next year. We continue to not see very much of that game.
Crazy.
So it's crazy. This is the world that we live in now. It's a combination of the marketing shit from several years ago, where they announce games as soon as they're in pre-production to build hype and pre-orders, combined with the late stage capitalism part, which is publishers are even more risk averse. They're only doing $200 million projects, which means they're only doing one of those at a time, which means it takes 8 years for a game to get made. And just we're literally only going to get 5 to 6 AAA games period per year moving forward across all these big publishers.
Probably.
So they're not always going to have a lot to show at these press conferences, which is existentially
they
depressing.
teased Splinter Cell and then did nothing. That social
Insane
media account
behavior,
is
man.
a fucking sack of shit.
They're just trying to boost their shareholder price for a day.
Yeah. Sell. All right, well, cool. This
That's Summer Game Fest.
I feel good about it.
Yeah. There's stuff to play.
Yeah.
I wish there was more big stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. That's the biggest disappointing thing. And that's a big disappointment,
Yes.
Yeah.
to be fair. But plenty of AA, plenty of indie. We're missing the top end now, but that's all right.
Well, don't worry, I got a big game to play right here in Mind's Eye, published by IO
yeah,
Interactive. Don't worry, this will save us all.
I feel a worst games ever stream at the end of this year coming for Mind's Eye.
Hey, IOI's got to pay for that Lashif license
That's right.
somehow, man.
Right?
That's right.
Yeah, they got to pay for Mads Mikkelsen somehow. That this will be their Aliens Colonial Marines.
Ooh,
The
Yes.
game that everybody
Ooh.
looks back at them and like, do you guys remember that fucking IOI published this piece of shit?
ugh.
All right, we got to get out of here. That's Summer Game Fest. We love video games.
Yeah.
And we love you. We would love to hear from you. Send us an email, partyselectpod@gmail.com, with the games you're most excited about from Summer Game Fest that were revealed or sort of re-shown. Feel free to leave a comment on the YouTube video. You know I will read it now. And I promise I force myself to not get angry. So write whatever bullshit you want. But that's it. Thank you, Kyle and Cody, for doing this little special edition of the pod.
Yeah.
And we'll be back at the beginning of... What month is it? The beginning of July with our next flagship episode. And we got plenty of stuff planned in between. So make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel, checking your podcast feed, all the good things. So you can join our party, bro. We'd love that.
Yeah, and in just like a day
That's
or two,
still gonna do it.
In just like a day or two when this goes up, we're gonna be publishing the second half of our Fantasy Critic. We got pickups coming. So that we talked about the games that we know are coming out. We know more of what the year looks like. We got some more picks to make. So be on the lookout for that.
And just a few days after that, we're publishing Best Games of 2002, right?
That's right. Yeah. And then we may or may
So
not
much
have
stuff,
another
bro.
piece of content towards the end of the month as well.
Yeah, dude.
We're killing it over here.
We're popping off.
That's right.
That's it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. Peace out.
See ya.